The corporations have not yet won.
Community still exists in small tucked-away areas not often talked about.
Artists and businesses beginning to thrive in places thought to be defeated.
Dave, I like to call him David Francis.
And I, Tom Maslowski,
are here to give you a glimpse of what's going down in downtown J-Town.
We're going to be interviewing all of our favorite musicians,
artists, and business owners
that give every ounce of themselves into what they do.
We are here at Third City Sound in downtown Joliet, above our favorite bar, Chicago Street Pub. I am your host, Tom Maslowski, and Dave Francis, the magic man behind the soundboard. We're here to give you a glimpse of what's going down in downtown J-Town. Tonight we have our guest, Alex Hoffer. He's going to take it away with our first song.
A tune called Being Human.
We've got all of the information down. Won't we all just let these words come spilling out? Instead of this, or merry-go, why do we all fall down? I just can't wait for what it was that you know that I needed. No. The people shouldn't think this way. Times are good and I would like to stay. Well, I'd like to stay human all the time. Well, I'd like to stay human all the time. It seems these days, well, they are running far too long for me. 'Cause when I'm awake, that all that I want is to be in my bed, because there just ain't no other place I would rather be. Oh, right now. Now all the love we used to give, it's gonna go so far, oh, so long. The people shouldn't think this way. And times are good and I would like to stay. Now I'd like to stay human all of the time. Well, I'd like to stay human all of the time. I know. Oh, well, that I just want it. Yeah, I want it. Well, I would like to stay human all of the time. I know that I would like to stay. Well, I would like to stay. I would like to stay.
A little out of tune.
I think we'll forgive you this one time.
Your guitar's a little out of tune on this one.
No one noticed. I didn't know. I didn't notice.
I didn't notice because I was talking to Tom the whole time.
We weren't really paying attention to your song, as cool as it was. No. Thank you for coming and doing this interview. I know it's like one of your only nights off. You're gigging every night of the week practically.
It's absolutely my pleasure.
Speaking of all the crazy gigs, Monday night is normally your acoustic open mic night.
That's correct. Down here at Chicago Street Pub. Every Monday. We've been doing it now for a little over 2 years, I believe. And a few things have changed since we started, but it has become a really fun Monday night. And just like anything, it takes a while to build. But we did that consistently over the last 2 years. And it's been nice to see it turn into more than what it was when we started. And to see the pub have a good continued Monday, even if there's not a ton of musicians, there's a good group of people in there. The Monday nights at that place that we love so much have gotten better around this thing, and that makes me very happy. You know?
Yeah, it's odd. I mean, Monday night is not usually known for a night to go out and enjoy live music, but it has been really good. The last few weeks especially, I've been coming out more often. And it started off as a singer-songwriter circle too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we kind of started off just sitting around a group of tables in the front of the bar, and we did that for a while, and people liked it, and then we just sort of evolved into a more traditional mic after that. But recently, and then you were here for this, we went back to that format. There was a Monday when we normally wouldn't be here, when it was closed for a holiday. I think it was maybe Martin Luther King Day, maybe.
I think so.
I think it was Martin Luther King Day. But because of the bar being in downtown Joliet, they don't tend to stay open on federal holidays because there's nothing else going on downtown. But we talked Mike into staying open for the first time on a Monday, and it actually went wonderful. It went way better than I expected it to go. We had about 9 musicians out here, and the whole bar was filled with people, and there were some tables filled. It just was a good night to have, considering that we're kind of taking a chance on whether or not there'd be anybody there, you know?
Absolutely.
So it was really cool, yeah.
Yeah, and Mike Trisna is the owner of Chicago Street Pub. He's really helped out with keeping this original music scene alive. We have so many different bands and musicians all the time. It's a blessing to be able to come here on any given night and see great people playing great music.
Absolutely.
Speaking of all the crazy shows, you could play 7 days a week, and most times you are playing 6 days a week, sometimes twice in a day.
Five is a little more. I mean, I've done that, but it's like 4 to 5 days consistently every week, which is still. I mean, that's Monday, every Wednesday, and usually every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You know, so sometimes I'll have a Wednesday or I have a Thursday or a Friday off in a week, but generally it's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday every week. You know.
Where else are you playing? I know it's a lot of Joliet stuff.
Yeah, well, Wednesdays we just started another weekly thing. It's at Bedrocks in Shorewood. In Bedrocks, I used to actually host an open mic at Bedrocks many years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, and we did it for like 4 years. We did it for a long time, and it was one of the things where it just ran its course, you know, and people got older, people left town, and we all kind of wanted to do something different, you know. But the owner approached me about doing this new thing, which is essentially a local music showcase. And I played this last Wednesday which was our first week, but I'm really not going to be playing at this as much as I'm trying to feature people who have their own music to come play their own set of music. And it's ideally featuring one songwriter each Wednesday and kind of spotlighting that. You know, we'll be doing that every week.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. I saw Brian Moidle. He was also interviewed on this show. River Horse is the band name, but it's only solo acts, right?
Correct. I mean, there'll be some, I think maybe some duos here and there, but it's featuring around singer-songwriters that might have a duo partner thing, but it's going to be a lot of solo performances. Yes.
That's cool. I hope more things like that keep going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of original stuff around here.
It's good to have more than one place be willing to do that too. You know, like I can tell you from experience, 4 years ago, I wouldn't have expected to be able to do one of those things, let alone two, in the relatively close to each other. Or I could expect to do maybe one, but two was like, there's no way 2 places close to here
want original music.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, usually it's a turnoff. Like in past, I know it was it was hard to play originals anywhere. Everybody wanted and preferred covers. They wanted their audience to be able to sing along or do whatever. Like, they stayed longer. But now it seems like it's completely changed where the audience is actually kind of preferring original.
This might be a little off base, but I feel like a little bit of that has to do with the correlation and the surge with craft beer coming to bars too. As that has happened, I think you're seeing, and Bedrocks is specifically one of those places that never used to have craft beer. Started doing craft beer almost exclusively. Now, I mean, they still do all their light beer stuff, but now what they've got like 10 handles, I think, and they've got several bottles. And since then, that was about 2 years ago, maybe. Since then, they've been having more or a little more original. Now we're doing this Wednesday night thing, and I mean that could be a little bit off kilter, but I feel like every place that I know that does a heavy dose of original stuff or is trying to do that also has a significant local or craft beer selection. I know that these two things maybe don't seem at first
Thank
that they
you,
go together,
hipsters.
but there's got to be something to that. You know?
Yes, thanking the hipsters for this one. But it's true. There's been a huge rise in like the demand for things made locally, whether it be food, beer, music, art. It's great. It's
Artisanal things. That's a new hot phrase lately.
artisanal.
Made by artisans.
Artisanal music choices.
Dave, the
Come
pronunciation
for
king.
artisanal cheeses, meats, and music.
Artisanal pizza. I think it's awesome though, because you are getting a lot better quality stuff. That's kind of what the trend is right now. Is you have to be making good stuff. We've already had the processed, bland garbage, and now everybody wants something a little bit better, a little bit more interesting. You know.
Yeah, I think it's a natural progression. After you've had enough of something, you would like to find something new.
Yeah. All the farm-to-table restaurants opening up, all the different distilleries and breweries. I'm kind of excited about all the distilleries, actually. I like whiskey.
That's a little bit newer of a trend now.
Yes,
At least locally, you know. There's one in Plainfield, whiskey distillery. I can't remember the name of it now.
Yep, there's one in Frankfurt, too.
It's the one in Plainfield's right across the street from my aunt's house, literally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's right.
Yes.
It's her driveway and then their driveway across the street.
Christmas just got a little better kind of thing?
Yeah. I need to say my uncle drinks more whiskey than he used to now.
I discovered Manhattans, and I'm also drinking a lot more whiskey than I used to also. Playing all these nights a week, I mean, it's pretty hectic. You got to really be able to, last endurance, your voice. How do you keep in shape for all that stuff? How do you sing 5 nights a week and not just sound fried? Whiskey? The whiskey helps.
Well, I probably don't do as good of a job as I should, but I think when I have a really good week and vocally things hold up right, it's generally just not drinking a lot. It's just keeping that. I mean, there really is no secret. It's just don't be an asshole and drink heavily every night, every one of those nights. Have a beer or 2 or 3 maybe, but drink water, drink tea,
Shots get crazy. Everybody, when you're playing, and if it's a good night, they want to buy the band a shot. Especially if that's what you're getting paid. Like, hey, we don't have much cash, but we can give you some beer.
I feel like the last week of the month is like always sort of like either the last or the very first week of the month ends up being where I have to okay, I'm not going to drink for about 4 or 5 days here. Just kind of let some things get out, and then that week ends up being the best. And those 2 weeks following, and then that last week or the first week, let's have a couple more drinks, and then I get to the end of the night, I'm like, oh, my voice.
Those drinks were fun an hour ago.
I'm pretty sure I sound like Jameson.
They called me Jameson. You're one with the liquor. Hey, how did you start off? How did you go from? How did you get to this point of playing so many shows so often, so regularly? You've been at all the festivals. You're at, we got to play in front of the Gym Blossoms. Mm-hmm. You're touring different places, like different parts of the country. How did it get to that point? How did you start off?
The very first time I performed live in front of anybody, I was 19, I think 19 or 20. I wasn't old enough to be in a bar, and I went to a place called the Uptown Tap in downtown Plainfield, and
good old
I
Uptown.
met a few guys there, and most of whom I still know very well, and they're much older, not much older, some of them are much older, but they were all they were playing a blues jam, and there just was the only old mic I knew. My mom knew the owner of the bar from high school, so she knew about it. So she was like, oh, we can go there, you can play. I didn't know it was a blues open mic. I had no blues music to play, and I was 19. I wasn't even supposed to be there, and I was playing a red sunburst acoustic guitar that just looked,
Like a
if you play
hummingbird?
a lot of music and you see like really bright colored acoustic guitars, like that's stuff that you get when you first start playing because you think it looks cool, then you realize it's actually really awful.
Or because it was the cheapest one they had.
And that's usually partly that's it was $300, but it looks like the sun, so it's wonderful. Turns out those guitars blow, and everyone knows it. Every other musician knows it. So I walk in with this guitar, and I'm sure they're all thinking like, "Oh God," but they were nice enough to let me play, and they kind of helped to kind of mentor my performing in front of people, and that was Pete Galanis was one of those guys who I know you know, and a guy named Joe Worrell, who now lives in Kansas again. He moved here from there a while ago and lived around here for a long time, and him and I actually played a lot of duo shows together for about a year or two, and that was really how I got my real kick into actually playing gigs, was with
Now,
Joe
how
Worrell.
did you get that first guitar? Was your mom a big advocate of you playing music in the beginning?
The very first guitar I ever got, I believe my dad got me because I asked him, and he said, "Well, you're going to learn it?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." That was it. Then I got a guitar and kind of figured out how to read tabs. And my mom got me the Sunburst, which, again, I feel like an ass because I just talked about how shitty this guitar was. But at the time, it was amazing, and it was the coolest thing in the world that at that time, it was the coolest thing I ever got, too. So I think that was like 17 when I got that. Or 17 or 18 when I got that guitar for my birthday or for graduation or something from high school or something like that. And I remember playing that thing for a very long time. And then like I said, I met Joe Worrell and we started playing, and he sold me one of his old guitars. And this old Takamine guitar was and probably still is the favorite guitar I've ever owned, just in the sense of what I went through with it. It was a 1980 something Takamine with a classical width neck, but was steel strings. So it was not a classical guitar, but it had a classical width neck. It was cedar, so it was a very warm guitar. Everything, you had to stretch everything way crazy to do it. And I kind of attribute that guitar to helping me be a little bit better of a guitar player than I probably should have been.
Because
at
it
the
was
time.
so difficult to play.
Because playing any chord was like, what in the world?
For folks that don't know, classical style guitars, the neck is much wider because you're finger picking and you need a little bit more room to get in between the strings.
Mm-hmm.
So to play just regular acoustic guitar on it is kind of...
Imagine playing a musical instrument that is essentially just a 2x4. Pretty much.
That is one way to put it, yeah.
With strings.
But if you have fingers like me, they're wonderful.
Why, Dave?
I have
What did he
fat
say?
fingers.
I can't hear him, by the way.
He's just saying banter. We
Oh,
don't-
okay, good.
Dave, can we get a little bit of you and Alex's headphones so he can
my.
communicate?
Hi, Alex.
Oh, hi, there he is. That's David.
And now can we also have headphones for Alex's buddy? What kind of music were you playing when you met those guys? I know you said you weren't really into the blues kind of stuff then.
I hadn't really got into blues music at all at that point, but I was doing like Oasis and I'm trying to even think, like just anything from the 90s, like alternative rock era. I was kind of learning stuff from that time period. A little bit of Beatles. My mom liked the Beatles, and I learned like a Paul Simon tune, I think, back then too.
Were you taking lessons or were you just doing all this on your own?
No, I did everything on my own at the time. I did everything on my own, and just figured out how to read tabs, which wasn't very hard to do. But and all those songs didn't require a whole lot of learning much more than tabs. They were chords.
Sure. Right, eventually you're playing the same 6 chords or whatever it is over
and
and
it's
over
like
again.
some Tom Petty, like you kind of. I learned a lot of little 90s things, and what was that band called? Oh, cripes. Just sits alone by the lamppost.
Hootie and the
Oh,
Blowfish.
That's the one, the
jeez
Hooties
Louise.
and the Blowfishes. Learned some of their stuff.
No, it's just Hootie and the Blowfish. Let's not insult my favorite band.
My mistake. I even learned it for one of my buddies. His name was Matt. His name is Matt. He was a good singer at the time, but he played a little guitar too. But he liked to sing a little more than he liked playing guitar, so he talked me into learning a few Three Doors Down tunes. Which
Nice.
Now looking back on it, I feel like I tainted my own soul a little bit. But
Hey, man.
You don't come onto my show and blaspheme to me the whole time there, dude.
you
No,
like
it's
Fear of the
okay.
Goes Down fan too?
No, it's okay. Those are all the bands I hate the most with my whole heart. So it's a balance right now. You've achieved this
You've
like
evened
zen.
us out.
If I go crazy, then will you still call me super? No,
Hey man, only 2 songs per guest, all right? No,
Sorry, my bad.
No, that counts as song number 2. You blew it.
Damn it.
When did you start getting into other things? Was it those guys that made you start learning other music?
No, I said. I mean,
They suck so bad you want to make good music.
as I got a little older, I just
You said
started
it, Dave.
listening to different things, you know, and
Sure.
and being around those guys, I was introduced to new things as well. So, as I heard a lot of new things I didn't like and a lot of new things I did like, and I just had to kind of start filtering out what things I did and what I didn't. And you know, because it's music, there is no right or wrong thing, obviously, to listen to. You can really not like something, but it doesn't really make our opinion of it any more valid than somebody who likes it. It's still an opinion to like or not like something. But I kind of went through like a 4 or 5 year period where I just started figuring out what kind of things I really wanted to be learning. And at that time, I had already started trying to write stuff, and it was really bad at first. Maybe it still is, but I had to like figure out what kind of sound I was going for. You know, I just had all I knew was. So that's what my original song sounded like for a while. I was like, this. I got kind of sick of that after a while.
So what did you find that? How did you discover, or not, I guess not how did you discover, but you know when you're playing by yourself, you're trying to figure some stuff out and write some things, you start experimenting.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was that finally flipped it?
Playing Dave Matthews Band really kind of, you know, opened my experimenting with my own guitar, at least, come through.
Altering chords and things like that?
And I think that learning some of their stuff got me into feeling good about what it was I wanted to talk about, too. Like the kind of things I wanted to talk about in my songs kind of seemed a little awkward to do compared to what style of music I was playing along with it, if that makes sense.
So generally, what do you think your songs are about? What are your songs about? Are they more introspective? Do you have a...
It depends. I mean, I think just like anybody, some songs are about
This or
love
about
and
that?
bad love and good love. Some songs are about, you know, dealing with situations and getting from having it turn into something bad at first and then become a better situation, like the whole process of the
caterpillar.
a situation that helps to shape part of who you are from the beginning to the end of that is a song.
Sure.
You know, to me, you know,
Sure.
it's something like that, or talking about space and our place in the universe, stuff like that. You know, that's kind of stuff that some people don't even like to talk about. Just sitting around with each other, I think it's weird. Like, let alone singing songs about it.
So then, do you have a formula? Do you have an Alex Hoffer sound in mind when you go about writing? Is it just a habit now? Is it intentional?
I don't think. I mean, I think there's probably subconscious things everybody does without knowing it. But I don't ever go into anything really thinking like it's got to be like this. Like I tend to play something with a melody on the guitar first. I'll have ideas for things I want to write about, but I usually write some musical material first, and then start trying to put lyrics over it. I have done songs that were lyrical first and then music second. I think everybody's a little different in the way they like to do that.
How did you? I know "Being Human's" kind of an earlier song.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how that one came about?
I was living with my aunt at the time. I think I was 21 years old, and I was living with my aunt in Plainfield, and I don't know why, but I couldn't sleep, so I went upstairs. She had like a finished basement was where I stayed, you know. So I came upstairs to the computer, and that's how I wrote a lot at the time. I sat at a computer, played, and then would write and play a little bit and write and play a little bit. And I don't even remember what, I was sitting downstairs, it was like 2 a.m, and I was noodling around with my guitar, and I had nothing to write on, so I just went upstairs and sat at the computer, and I sat there for like 4 hours maybe, and just dicking around until it came out right. Like I had this stuff was all kind of coming out the right way, but I was trying to find ways to add the words that I had kind of already wanted to talk about, make them make sense within that structure, you know. So there was a lot of times where you write something out and then you play it and it's not quite right, so you delete a couple of things, you reword it and you change, you know, you find ways to fit what you're trying to say into into the lane that it's trying to drive in, basically. Like I wouldn't try to drive a semi truck on a dirt road.
Sure.
So I got to find a way to fit that thing in there.
Right.
I can.
Do you have? Is that song heavy in metaphor? Is it literal?
No, that's more just straight up like talking about sometimes being a little depressed, maybe in the beginning of a day, and not wanting to get out of bed, and then realizing there's a lot of shit I got to do, and I can do, and I really want to do it, and that's that realization that from point A to point B kind of a thing, Starting off with like something you're getting through on a daily basis, feeling a certain way, but knowing that you've got more to do and more to give than just nothing.
I like it.
Yeah.
And that is our cue for the end of the interview. Do you have another song that you could give us that follows that same metamorphosis?
I'll do this one's a little more straightforward, I guess, but Gods and Masters is the name of this tune, and this is a little more obvious from the name of it. I mean, this is talking about my maybe disagreement with the way that religion sort of fixes people to ideas that don't allow them to have their own voices sometimes, even though they might think they do. And I would rather have my own opinion than I would like to be told what to think.
I understand that one.
I'm going to tune up before...
Well, and that's fine. I also wanted to mention that Gods and Masters is on the new album, right?
It is on the new album, and that you can buy on the website. It's alexhoffer.com. It's a digital download. There are 6 tunes on that EP. There's that song. There's a song called Frantic, which we really like to do, and Speed of Life is on there. Something's Missing is a redo, not a redo, but a reoccurring tune. And then... what else is on there?
Well, that's for the audience to find out on their own.
Go check it out. It's pretty good stuff.
And the website is?
alexhoffer.com. Hoffer, like Hasselhoff minus the hassle.
No hassle here, folks. And while Alex is getting tuned up, I want to say thank you for listening to What's Going Down in Downtown J-Town. I want to thank Dave Francis for his little, comments and trying to bring back the days of Three Doors Down. Hopefully he fails at that miserably.
I will never stop trying.
Although you do a really good impression.
Oh, thank you.
I'll keep calling you Sue.
Oh, man. References all over the place. Thanks a lot, folks. Alex is going to take us out with this last song.
Do you guys know how you're supposed to go to a Creed concert?
How?
With arms wide open.
Oh man.
That's right.
I'm gonna go cry.
That one, I'll be honest, I never got into those guys ever. Never even played a song. Never wanted to.
Real nice, dude. Real nice. Well, I hope they're not insulted by all the words that you just said about them.
He's probably drunk in a hotel somewhere. He's not gonna hear it.
They sound like a charity tour right now.
A charity tour. Wow.
See? For him?
See?
It's to get his shit together.
You're making fun of a real... Oh, man.
It's a Scott Stapp charity tour.
Like for cancer.
Can you please say that in a Scottish voice?
It's like a Scott Stapp charity concert or some crap like that.
That really made my day.
It's going to be great.
Well, since you are in the, entertaining mode right now, you want to play